He's hailed as a polished performer, sophisticated composer, and savvy businessman. His music is described as a delicate mixture of R&B, hip-hop, and smooth jazz. But to legions of fans in the Washington-Baltimore area, he's simply Marcus Johnson, a local success story straight out of Silver Spring, Maryland. Marcus Johnson was born in Columbus, Ohio. When he was 2 years old, his parents, Roosevelt and Willa, were both offered teaching positions at Howard University. The couple moved to Silver Spring, Maryland with Marcus and his older sister, Lisa. It became evident early on that Marcus had an innate ability to use his talent, intelligence, and personality to take advantage of existing opportunities. And even when no opportunities seemed apparent, Marcus smoothly forged his own path.
I was a mischievous kid. I used to like to if the norm was this way, I wanted to go here. Later in life, I learned about Thoreau's theory as it relates to marching to your own drummer. And my parents definitely instilled that in me, to be an individual.
Marcus was this type of a child. Everybody in the neighborhood knew Marcus, from the mailman to all the delivery men to the neighbors. You just name it. Everybody knew Marcus. I remember once when he flew across country to visit his aunt, my sister, in California. And before we took off, Marcus had actually became friends with the pilot on this 747, and he allowed Marcus to push a button to start one of the engines. So that's the type of a guy Marcus was.
But Marcus's ability to meet and greet didn't always play well at home.
If you say one, he's got to say two and three. You know, he has to answer you plus some. And what he's saying makes an awful lot of sense, but you get very, as a parent, you hush, be quiet. And finally you just say, shut up, Marcus. And he's like, but Mom.
I was on the golf course the other day and someone asked me, what's your passion? Is it the music or is it the business? And for me, it's both.
At Howard, Marcus continued to hone his musical skills in the classroom and on the stage. His dream was to establish his own record label, but he realized he needed the legal and business skills to do it his way. A defining experience led him to Georgetown University to pursue dual graduate degrees in law and business.
In a conversation I had with Marcus, he decided to get a law degree because he wanted to be able to sit at the table and understand what those music contracts were all about, so that even though he may have legal representation, he would understand what the deal was about and certain things that should or should not be included in the contract and how to protect his interests.
I had a great experience in the music business, which led me to law school, and it was really getting screwed by one of the major companies, and I was given no guidance in a particular situation and really lost out on something. So on the way back, I promised myself that I would never be in that position again. And it was the whole theory from the time I was 19 until I graduated, and I still have it today, is the right side of the desk. And that's what, when I speak to people, I always talk about, with the right side of the desk. Not the one that's receiving the contract, but being the one that is giving the contract.
He sat at the dining room table for 30 days, and he studied his butt up. He bought books, he studied everything. When he took his LSAT, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, he'd be down here reading. When he took his LSAT, he did great.
I never did think it was a good idea for him to pursue the JD MBA combined. I would have been much more conservative, and I would have done, which I advised him, and he ignored my advice. And I'm very pleased that he ignored my advice.
As a law and business student, Marcus kept his musical career moving forward, even managing to produce his own CD.
I was going home one night and I heard something on the radio, and I ran upstairs to my studio in my apartment, and I wrote a song. And it ended up being a song entitled Maxin, which is the second song on the CD of Lessons in Love. And I had the opportunity of either interning and making about $2,000 a week that summer or starting my company. And that is right about the same time when my mother said the quote, "It's time for you to start working for your dream instead of chasing it." So I asked my sister, you know, the big doctor, MD, she could help me out. And she said, well, let me see a business plan. Let me see how I'm going to get my money back. And she wasn't really worried about whether or not she was going to get her money back. She was worried about whether or not I had a plan. Put the business plan together. She gave me the money. I said, well, if I can do this with my sister, let me go talk to some other people.
The financial backing he received made Marcus's first CD, Lessons in Love, a reality.
From there, it was selling it at Georgetown Law School. I sold my first 500 units, I think, in a week and a half.
With spirituality, strategy, and artistry as his keys, Marcus Johnson continues to unlock the doors to his own creative talents and his entrepreneurial goals.
Every time that I think about performing and running the business, you know, sometimes it gets a little rough because I am only one person. And as I get older, it gets a little harder sometimes to wake up because, you know, you work in the office 12 hours and then you go play for 4. However, it goes back to what we said about whether it was stressful, and it's not, and I love it. You know, sometimes you have to say, look, I'm not going to let life lead me. I'm going to try and lead my life. And if you can't take that time out for yourself, I mean, is what you're doing worth it?